Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bait.com's Career Talk. I'm Hatem Hannoun, and on this week's episode I want to speak to you about something that's probably part of everyone's job description, or if you're a student, you must have passed by it in one of your courses, and that's presentations. Something that's vastly overlooked and that people leave to the last minute. But you shouldn't overlook this aspect of your job or of your studies. And I'll tell you why it leaves an impression on your audience, whether it's your professor or your employer, or if you're a salesperson trying to sell a product to a client, presentations are crucial. And that's why on this week's episode, I'm taking through a checklist of things that you should prepare. Know your technology. So most likely you're using a projector, you might have a pointer, you might be connecting your own laptop to the projector. Know how these things work and know how to set them up. You don't want to show up to the presentation, whether at university or your job, and then spend so much time trying to set this thing up or finding difficulties, technical issues, having your audience wait until you sort it out, or worse, having to wait until a technical person comes and figures out how to set up the whole thing. Make sure you know how to set it up well ahead of time, make sure the presentation works, and that you're ready. Now at the same time, you may use visual aids that may help in the presentation, but be careful with them. Avoid gimmicks that might distract from your main point that you're trying to present. It might end up being very counter-effective for you. Outline everything. Now this works for both you as the presenter and your audience. Now if your audience is confused about how much you've covered and how much is left to go, they might lose focus. And at the same time, by keeping an outline noted, you also know where your track is. You don't want to lose track in the middle of your presentation and then lose focus. Now you might have it perfect in practice, but on the day, we're all human, you might forget some elements here and there. Having an outline in front of you helps keep you on track and helps keep the momentum going. At the same time, right now, these days, you can have your notes on your presentation. If you're using PowerPoint or what have you, you can have the notes that only you can see while your audience sees the actual presentation itself. So it's very valuable to have an outline ready. Be personable. When you're presenting, maintain eye contact with your audience. Shift eye contact from one person to another makes them feel a bit more engaged. At the same time, use your body language. Turn your body towards different members of the audience. Use hand movements. I use a lot of hand movements in my video. It helps keep the audience engaged and keeps you from being too robotic in your presentation, especially with your voice tone as well. Don't be too monotonous. If you sound bored, the audience will be bored. Support with data. Whenever you're presenting an idea or a product or anything to your audience, it's best if you have numbers and information and facts to support it. You can make all the claims and opinions, share your opinions on a certain subject matter, but if you have numbers to back it up, the audience will respond better to it. They'll believe more in what you're presenting. Dress for the occasion. In your presentation, you should know what your product is or your service or your project or your idea is. You should know the company that you're representing or whoever it is that you're representing, and just as importantly, your audience, so you can relate to them. For example, if you're a banker and you're presenting an idea to other investment bankers, it might be best that you're in a suit and tie. Likewise, if you're a graphic designer trying to present an idea to an agency, something in the advertising world, you might get away with a t-shirt and jeans. If I'm presenting maybe to a university audience or to younger students, I might want to show up a little more casual, something that they can relate to. So know your various factors, who you're presenting to, who you are, and what idea you're presenting, and dress accordingly. Let your character shine. Don't be afraid to be yourself. The more comfortable you are with yourself and your presentation, the more comfortable and at ease your audience will be. If they feel that you're nervous or uncomfortable or rigid, likewise they might be even distracted by it if you're not getting away with it too well. So be yourself, be very comfortable. Don't make it too casual, again, depending on the situation. It might be casual. If it's investment banking, it might need a more serious tone. But the important thing is for you to be comfortable with yourself when you're presenting, because then that reflects with your ideas. Tell a story. We spoke about you, but what about your presentation itself? Think of it this way, your presentation should flow like a story. And what I mean by that is it should have three main distinct parts. Even if we're talking about numbers and it sounds hard to put that into a story, but think of it this way. If you have a beginning part of it, that's the hook. You want to get their attention with this hook, set up the context, give them an idea as to why we're here even discussing the subject matter. Then you have the middle, the body of your presentation. This is where you're stating your numbers, your facts, putting forward your opinions, your arguments. And then the ending. This is where you wrap everything together, reminding them of why we're discussing everything, and then communicating the message that you want them to leave with, the summary of everything. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Bait.com's Career Talk. I hope that was valuable and informative and would help you in your career in one way or another. As always, weekly episodes right here on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our channel here. Follow us on Facebook and on Instagram for the latest updates, and I'll see you guys next week.